Alright, so let's talk about lower control arm bushings for your 8th gen Civic Si, your 9th gen, or even your 10th gen Civic Si. As you all know, I had my car supercharged for 4 years, and one thing I always wanted to do, and I never got a chance to just because I didn't have the time. So these are the Hard Race 7453. As you can see, they're the spherical lower control arm, the pillow ball Hard Race control arm bushings. For 8th gen Civics, the Civic Si and the regular base model Civic both use the same control arms. So I just want to show you these parts here and kind of give you my opinion on this. And I will just first off say, you know, this is my opinion because I never actually installed them on the car. But I believe that spherical lower control arm bushings will eliminate wheel hop more than engine mounts. So these are the spherical bearings for the lower control arm. I just want to show you these here. I'm not going to be putting these on the car mainly because I don't have the power that really requires them anymore. The supercharged setup, I plan to put these on to try to kill wheel hop even more because I was still getting some wheel hop at the track. So my plan was to put these in to completely eliminate wheel hop. So it comes with two for the rear of the arm, and of course these are the smaller bushings. These aren't the compliance bushing, these are the control arm bushings that rotate this way, as you know. So that's kind of a traditional bearing, as you can see in the end. It's very, very nice, and they're very tight from the factory. You can't move it by hand. But the main reason I wanted Hard Race versus all the other ones available were that the one downside to running spherical control arm bushing is you get dirt in the bushing. If you look at full race traction balls, they're an open design where if you daily drive your car, you're going to have dirt going in between the bearing and contact surfaces where it rotates. So I really didn't want to do that for that reason. So I came across these, and these are really the only spherical control arm bushing I found for the compliance bushing that actually has a rubber seal all the way around. So none of the bearing is actually getting any contaminants on it. It's very nicely sealed and high quality rubber here. This is a really, really nice piece, and I wanted to put these on the car, but the S2000 took priorities, as you guys know, and the car is back to all motor now, so I'll be selling these. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but I've had the Energy Suspension lower control arm compliance bushings installed since 2012 on my car. It's one of the first mods I did, and they're definitely okay, they're decent. They're stiffer than the factory ones, which helps, but the design of them does not allow it to really generously pivot. The spherical is great because it's a nice bearing, and it allows the control arm to pivot back and forth nicely with no play. So these will add a lot of vibrations to the car, and it's definitely going to be a harsher ride, but your control arms won't move at all when you launch your car or get on the throttle. And this will also help eliminate torque steer, because when you get on the throttle or launch your car, the factory rubber compliance bushings and control arm bushings flex, and when the lower control arms flex back and forth, your steering rack stays in the same spot. So that your alignment, and more specifically your toe adjustment on your alignment, will change if you floor it, and if you launch your car, it will change slightly from when the car is sitting still. So with these keep everything rock solid, and your alignment will not change when you have high horsepower and you're getting on the throttle and the car is pulling very hard. So like I said, I believe these would have made a huge difference with my car at the track. If I were to go get slicks and stuff, these would have been the way to go. Definitely would have been awesome. This is just my thoughts on the product. I haven't actually had the experience to comment on how much they did eliminate wheel hop or how they felt. But just from a design perspective, I believe these are the best lower control arm bushings you can buy for a supercharged or turbocharged 8th gen Civic Si, or they'll even help you in an all-motor application. However, the harshness of them and the zero play that they give may not be ideal for daily driving, and if you go and commute over a lot of bumps every day, these may, you know, over time develop a little play in them, as opposed to the rubber is more daily driver friendly because the rubber just bounces back and forth and it never develops any play in the bushing. So I would definitely recommend these to anyone that's keeping their Si or whatever Civic you have more of a high horsepower application and not so much of a daily driver. These would be awesome for the track. Your alignment would never change, and would probably provide really good steering feel. So that's my thoughts on spherical lower control arm bushings. So after running the polyurethane bushings in my Si for 6 years now, I'm going to be taking them out of the lower control arm, but just the thought and the design behind them is not really good for that application. So I'm going to be taking them out of the car and examining them for how loose they are. But if I were to do it over again, I would have put these in the car the day I supercharged the car. So the car had, very stiff polyurethane engine mounts in it. Along with these that give zero give to the control arm, I believe it would have had no wheel hop or changing alignment at all. So another part I was going to put on the car along with the spherical control arm bushings was rigid collars for the subframe. So now that you have the control arms having zero give and you launch the car, there's going to be a lot more force sent directly through the subframe. And there is cases online of the subframe shifting from the bolt slop in the holes. That's why when you take your subframe off and put it back on your car, you always need a new alignment because there's so much play in the bolts. So these are the rigid collars. If you haven't seen my video on what rigid collars are, click the link in the description. I explained them very well. But these basically eliminate all play in the subframe. So the combination of these and the spherical control arm bushings would have completely kept the whole subframe and control arm system rigid in the car and would have completely reduced wheel hop, I believe. I believe these are two very good products. A lot of people don't have them on their cars. They don't think to put them on their cars, but these are definitely two things you want to put on your car if you have a high horsepower build and you're worried about wheel hop. I'm back to all motor now, which is like 230 wheel horsepower. And I don't believe these are necessary really for that setup. I'm going to kind of make the car a little more daily driver friendly. I'm actually going to purchase a set of hard race hardened rubber bushings for the front control arm as opposed to these. They're harder than stock, so they'll keep the control arm stiffer than stock, but they also are more daily driver friendly. So I plan on driving the SI a lot more around town, back and forth to work and stuff in the summer. So spherical might be a little overkill. I don't really plan on running the car back at the track since I already ran the hell out of it when it was all motor and of course when it was supercharged. So it's going to be a little more of a daily driver now. These parts aren't really necessary. So thanks for watching, guys. This is just my thoughts on the hard race pillow ball lower control arm bushings for the 8th Gen SI. Like I said, just a summary, I think they're a nice looking product. Can't comment on how well they work, but just the design speaks for itself where they thought to seal off the inner bearing from any road debris or whatnot. So that's a win in my book. Let me know what you think. If you've had any experience running anything different, or if you have these in your car, definitely drop a comment. I want to hear for how well they work, or if you guys are running any other spherical control arm bushings, I want to hear how much of a difference they made regarding wheel hop and how the car pulls.